Hello, welcome to my channel, Catskill Mountain Homebody. My name's Amy. Alright, it is a kind of warm day in the New York Catskills. It's July. It's about 80 degrees outside. Alright, but this is actually going to be a recipe video. And this is a recipe I have not made on this channel yet. Okay, we're going to make a dinner recipe today. This is a great summer dinner actually. I used to make it a lot. It's kind of like an antipasto pasta, but you serve it warm. So it's like an antipasto with some angel hair pasta on it. And I'll show you how I make it. It's really easy to make. This was a recipe that I used to make every summer here in the Catskills many, many times because, and the reason I liked it is the first house we lived in the Catskills, we lived in for 14 years, and it had no air conditioning. We didn't even have window air conditioning. We just used window fans because there's really only, at that point, there were really only maybe a week or two of summer weather where you needed an air conditioning, where it was humid. And the rest of the summer, you really didn't need air conditioning. But on those hot summer days where I didn't want to use my oven, I would make this recipe. So this is a great recipe for a hot summer day. You don't want to turn your oven on. And all you really have to cook is boil pasta, which usually doesn't take too long to do. So I'll show you how to make this antipasto pasta. It's very easy. Since we moved to this house during the pandemic, I haven't made this recipe because we have air conditioning. So I just cook the same way I cook in the winter here. I use the oven, I use the whatever. I'm not as concerned about making the kitchen hot in this house because we have air conditioning. So I haven't really made this recipe probably in 4 or 5 years. So I'm excited to make it because it is delicious and it goes a long way and it's pretty easy to do. So let's make a delicious antipasto pasta recipe. It's like a one-pot dish. All right, so I'm going to go downstairs and we're going to start cooking. Come join me. Okay, I've pulled out a lot of what I'm going to need to make this dinner. Don't mind my Roomba vacuum in the background. All right, let me just show you a few things I've pulled. So I'm going to be chopping a lot of this stuff up and putting it in a big bowl, and then I'm going to boil the pasta. So let's look at the pasta first. I'm going to make a whole pound of DiCecco angel hair. Then I have some diced pepperoni. I have a little bit of diced ham. I have some, in this package, I have a little bit of prosciutto, some salami, prosciutto, and provolone that I bought as a pack. I'm going to be chopping that up. I have some pearl mozzarella cheese, or mozzarella. I have a few ripe tomatoes I'm going to be chopping up. A little bit of garlic I'm going to chop up into fine pieces. I'm going to chop up a little red onion. I have some pitted olives. I'm going to use this whole jar of roasted red peppers. And then I have some finishing olive oil to put over the warm pasta. And all of these things. All of these yummy things. And then I don't have any fresh basil, so I'm just going to use dried basil to season. Maybe some fresh ground pepper. So we are going to chop up a lot of this stuff and put it in a big bowl, and we're going to put up a big pot of water to boil the pasta. So let's get cooking. Okay, while the water is up on the stove to boil, I'm going to chop up all of my ingredients and with the olive oil put it in this bowl. And then when the pasta's cooked, you're going to add the warm pasta to this bowl with all the other ingredients. So we have to start chopping up some ingredients. I forgot to mention I also have artichoke hearts that I'm going to chop up into small pieces to add to the pasta. Thank you for joining me today for this recipe video. I hope that you try to make this recipe. It was a big hit. Everybody ate it up, and I don't have that many leftovers, even though I made a pound of pasta. There's almost nothing left, and only 4 of us ate. Please consider subscribing to my channel, Catskill Mountain Homebody, if you like videos like this on recipes or videos about life in the Catskill Mountains. All right, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Say bye, Chipper.